Maybe it's just me, but I keep checking the box scores to see if the Astros are winning or not. Well, we know they're not in the playoffs, but there's some exciting games going on, and we'll get to that in a moment. But we want to examine further the values of the players we may be losing and the guys we could be bringing in possibly. Let's talk about it on this edition of Locked On Astros.
Jainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you joins for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Astros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at h-vac House on X, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on X and on Facebook, and at Back to the Bullpen on Instagram, on X, on YouTube, and iHeartRadio. I'm always positive, always Stros.
Guys, thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check us out. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.com, yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. I actually used Booking.com to book a hotel for the Linkin Park concert in November. We are going up to Dallas, which is, I know, a rival city. So I'm not becoming a fan of that city, but for one day, I'll go there and just go listen to Linkin Park. But Brett, I was kind of keeping up. I wasn't watching the ALDS game, but the Tigers, instead of going to Skubal, I think they're going to give Skubal an extra day of rest. But they went with the opener, the same thing that the Astros that they did against the Astros in Game 2. And to the Guardians' credit, it didn't work the same way it did with the Astros. And so I don't know if it's the Indians are a better team than the Astros, or maybe they're better prepared. I don't know what the situation was, but the Guardians won that game 7-0. The Tigers had no chance in that game. I don't know if that's a reflection on the Tigers or a reflection on the Astros for not getting anything done.
Well, I mean, I don't really know that, the whole Astros thing is neither here nor there. I think the Tigers, I guess the way it relates to the Astros is the Tigers fell into a perfect scenario, perfect storm of the Houston Astros falling victim to, and, it was only 3 runs, but Framber Valdez giving up the 3 runs. He's given up 3 runs or more in his last 4 postseason starts. So that's a problem. In hindsight, it's always 2020. You're wondering if the Astros should have gone with Yusei Kikuchi or even Hunter Brown Game 1, just kind of flip the script on those guys. If you would have used one of those 2 guys, you could have still gone with Framber in Game 1 of the ALDS, but we obviously did not make it to this round. And simply what happened, Eric, was the Guardians are a very good hitting team. I mean, they just jumped out in front in the first inning. Jose Ramirez got a double. It was really for the Tigers, strikeout, single, ground out, hit by pitch, line out. They were done. Stephen Kwan doubles, David Fry walks, Jose Ramirez doubles, Naylor singles, pitching change, Lane Thomas homers. It was just a comedy of errors for the Tigers. 5 runs in the first inning. The Tigers would only manage 4 hits all game. And so really, when I saw the first inning end with 5-0 Guardians, my first thought was they might sweep them. Now, I know Tarik Skubal is going to be pitching Game 2 because he's listed as a Game 2 starter. But if you can get to this bullpen for the Guardians don't strike out a lot. The Guardians get on base. They have a lot of contact guys. They can hit home runs. So I think that if this doesn't go in a sweep, I think the Guardians easily win this series. In 4 games? Because these the ALDS is best of 5, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, they may get this one with Scooble. I don't think they get another one. Now, I mean, we could be surprised, but one of the things I don't see the Tigers doing is lasting in a 7-game series. So, just because of their lack of pitching depth, it's not good for the playoffs.
Yes, and I know that the Yankees did end up winning a game, but the Royals did give them a little bit fight for their money. So Garrett Cole did have to fight a little bit with Yuli Gurriel. That would have been big pickup for the Astros. I think that he's actually come on pretty strong this postseason. If the Astros would have basically traded nothing for the access to have somebody to play first base, but I think where the Astros are is they need to make some adjustments. They need to figure out some things to get back to where they were. And they just weren't ready for this postseason, whether it's they didn't have enough offense, the bullpen wasn't really as put together as we thought they were. But the Tigers just were red hot, and now they're kind of facing big boys. But you know what I've loved since the Astros been knocked out? This is not just in New York. This is all across. People are saying, well, now that the Astros are knocked out of the playoffs, this is the Yankees' year to win the World Series. So and that's what they're saying. The Astros' chance to, I mean, the Yankees' chance to win the World Series because their nemesis is out, and the Astros always seem to take care of business. So Yankees, all eyes are going to be in New York to see if they can actually follow through. The Yankees have had a pretty good team all year. I know that the what's going on in with the Mets, that series is actually pretty interesting. And what's going on with the Padres and Dodgers, that's an interesting series.
Oh, yeah.
So the playoffs have been great so far.
No, they have. That first game, Padres put up 3 runs in the first inning. You know, you had a big home run by Manny Machado. And then the second inning, Shohei Ohtani's first at bat, what does he do? He hits a 3-run home run. His first postseason at bat, he hits a 3-run home run. And then Xander Bogaerts comes back later on, doubles, scores 2 runs, 5-3 Padres. Then Teoscar Hernandez makes it 5-4. I'm sorry, there's a wild pitch. And then Teoscar Hernandez singled and scored 2 runs on that. So they go up 6-5. They end up winning that game 7-5. That was probably one of the better playoff games that I've seen in a while. You know, like you mentioned, the Mets took game 1 from the Phillies. And then what happens today? The Phillies walk it off. Pete Alonso hits another opposite field home run, future Astro first baseman. Hits another opposite field home run. He's hitting the ball well, but Castellanos hits a walk-off today. And then right now, as we speak, San Diego's up 3-1. We're airing this podcast at 8:38 p.m. Sunday night. And if the Padres even it up and go back to San Diego, that puts the pressure squarely on the Dodgers. So yeah, look, even if you're not a fan of this team, I love there's a new shirt that Ram Shirts has put out, and I think I'm about to buy it. It says, I want both teams to lose. And it's a great shirt because I'm not the guy that roots for other teams. Well, you've got to root for the Tigers now. No, I don't. My team is not out. I'm not rooting for anybody. I'll watch baseball because I like good baseball, and it's postseason baseball, and it's not some scam, shortened season or some stupid crap. And so, I'm going to watch it, and I hope there's some exciting baseball to watch.
Well, I guess Brett's saying he's not going to root for the Tigers just because AJ Hinch used to be their manager. So, guys, we're going to continue this conversation.
He's not my friend. I don't have to root for him. No, heck no, I'm not rooting for AJ Hinch. He's a Tiger now. Forget that crap.
Oh, speaking of former Astros players, Joe Musgrove is about to have Tommy John surgery. So
exactly,
it's unfortunately from him because I think that he pitched and it was either a playoff game or the last game of the season. And the catcher said he doesn't look right. So they took him out, and it is going to be a UCL surgery. So he's going to be out for most of all of the 2025 season. So that's unfortunate for the Padres, but the Padres look like they're going to have a pretty good team for many years. But coming up, we're going to go and talk about Alex Bregman, Spotrac. What is it saying he should get? What would the open market get him? And what teams are likely to go out and get him. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check us out.
For most of us, card collecting is amazing. We love it, but imagine spending $2 or $3 grand on a card that you could pay a fraction of the cost with who? Thank you for asking. Arena Club slab packs. That's right. They are changing the repack game. It provides you real value, and you get a complete view of all the cards that you could hit, the rate that you could hit them at, every single one. The slab packs are revolutionizing the repack game. After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your showroom for safekeeping, selling, trading, or auction. The Arena Club grading process is accurate, fast, and transparent, with a full grade rationale provided and explanation of how your card was scored. Whether you're buying, selling, or trading, or displaying, Arena Club is the card collecting platform you have to check out. So right now, you can get 10% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb and use a code LockedOnMLB. That's arenaclub.com/lockedonmlb, code LockedOnMLB for 10% off your purchase today.
Hey guys, go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out. And we appreciate y'all. We still, even though the Astros are out of the playoffs, we still want your help. Try and get us to 15,000 subscribers before the end of 2025. And go and tell a friend. We'll be here all off season, talking baseball, talking trades, talking rumors. The season doesn't end here. Yes, unfortunately, October is going to suck for Astros fan because we're so used to going deep into the postseason, but we're still going to be here. We're still going to be talking Astros. So guys, don't forget about us. But I know that a lot of people are wondering what's going on with Alex Bregman. I know this is a big topic of discussion in the basically in the front office right now. They're saying, okay, what can we do to get Alex Bregman to stay? The other day we talked about Matt Chapman. It's got to start with that $151 million deal over 6 years, and they've got to top that. And the best place to start is basically looking at his Spotrac deal. So if you go and put that on the screen, his calculated market value is $30 million per season. So the market value right now is about 4 years, 119. I'm going to go around that to about 120 million for 4 years total. So the average salary is about $30 million. But if you look down, they have comparable players. And so if you look at all comparable players, you have Manny Machado, Heimer Candelario, Chris Taylor, Matt Chapman. So if you look at all
Jimmer, that's
okay.
It's Jimmer
okay.
Candelario. That's okay. Good.
So, but based off that calculated value, the length that they're projecting he'll get based on all those other contracts is about 6 years, $165 million. Average salary is about $27.5 million.
Now, so the question then begs, is he worth paying that much, $27 million? I definitely think he can. I think that's a deal the Astros can make, but with the Astros only having 41 under the first luxury tax threshold, that leaves you half or less than half of what you have available going into the season. If you're going to consider signing Yusei Kikuchi, how does his contract, how do they structure it? Is it cheap on the front end, more expensive on the back end? That way you can bring Tucker in when he's due, because I honestly don't see them signing Tucker before his time is up. They just don't make a habit of doing that. They did it early with Bregman, Altuve, and Yordan, but they did it because they got significantly discounted contracts. They're not going to get that this time around. Or so we talked about this. The floor is 156 or whatever Chapman got. That's the absolute floor, and he's going to get above that. Now, if you look at his WAR compared to other players, he's up there, and so he has that going for him. He has reduced in several categories. He's gone down in percentage points, and the teams are going to look at that. I've talked at length with this about this with Mike Stanton and other players. And that meeting, like when you go to arbitration, they're there to tell you why they don't deserve to pay you. Now, when you're negotiating a salary, you're going to tell them, hey, we want this. And the Astros are going to say, we feel like you're worth this. And so how is that going to go? How far is his loyalty to the team? How far is what he's done for the team? How big a part of this playoff run that he's been a part of? Will that soften the heart of Jim Crane? It's all dollars and cents. And someone did say, I think it was Paul Gallant said, surely if we're charging $35 for electric Haterade margaritas in Minute Maid Park, surely we can afford to pay some guys on some lengthy contracts to keep the ball rolling here, because I think it will truly upset Jose Altuve. And I think there's a lot of other factors, Eric, that will play into this. And I think Jose Altuve may have a bigger influence than what we think.
Well, if you look at the Haterade, I think that the price of that, yes, it has the alcohol in it, but I think the fact that it had Haterade next to it, they had to pay royalties to Josh Hader. So I think that's why the price was a little bit higher there. But if you're going back to Alex Bregman for a second, the last 2 seasons he played for $30.5 million for his last 2 years of his deal. Before that, he was playing for $13 million for 3 years. That's how his last contract was structured. So you're not gonna basically downgrade him from there. So I think you're gonna have to probably start at the $30 million per year at least. So if you're gonna do 30 times 5, that's definitely 150 just at the minimum. So you're gonna have to give him that. Maybe 6 years, but I don't know if Jim Crane is going to do that. So it's just a matter of how easy is it to replace Alex Bregman. I think they saw in the second to last game or third to last game of the season when Shea Whitcomb made the 4 errors. And granted, that was a different situation. He was the MVP of the AAA league, of the minor leagues. So I don't think that he's going to be a bust, but he still has some room for improvement at the major league level. So are they ready to hand over the reins to him? No. I think they'll be more likely to go ahead and say, okay, Dubon, we'll go and put you at third base for a little bit, split time with you and Whitcomb, and just give some more time for Bryce Matthews down at AAA. And I think that they would probably be more comfortable with Bryce Matthews playing third base, because he has played there about 20-30% of his time in AAA.
Well, and that's where I think
in minors.
Yeah. When I say who looks good in orange and blue, and I have the pictures of Eugenio Suarez or Mr. Pete Alonso, the polar bear himself. Those are just like, these are guys that we know are free agents. I know we're talking third base, but when we're talking about bringing other people in, it would really take some creative math to bring them in. But when I think Dana Brown is talking about being creative, I think he's talking about doing exactly what you're talking about, taking guys that are in-house, moving guys around. If it is bringing in a free agent, it's probably at a position like a first base position, not a third base position. But that's part of the creativity of Dana Brown and those that are thinking deeper and know a whole lot more about these players than we do. Are they mentally ready? Bryce has the tools, but is he prepared? And when will he be prepared? It's different rushing a pitcher than it is a position player. I think we see that all the time. I think we see position players come up, and even, Jackson Holiday, when he first came up, Eric, he looked terrible. And he finally kind of got into the groove, went down, came back up. Bregman, when he first came up, he was 0-for-27
Mike
famously.
Trout too.
Yeah. So, guys are going to come up and they're going to fail. Guys are going to come up, they're going to make mistakes. But if they are someone you're going to lean on for the future, you have to be willing to do that. And that's where the Astros have to go into not just the short-term effects, but the long-term effects. Who will we get to fill the shoes of Alex Bregman? I think that's the toughest part of this equation.
Yeah, so a lot of people want to know, well, what if the Astros don't want to, can't match the asking price for Alex Bregman, and he does walk. So I know there's been a lot of reports this week that the Tigers probably they have what $18.8 million basically salary this year. So they have the most room, and now they're in the playoffs. So now they have something to play for. They probably can throw all the money at Alex Bregman. So that's some names I've seen. I've also seen the names like the Mets, the Diamondbacks. I've also heard the Red Sox possibly moving him to second base. You can also see the Cubs as well. There's several other names out there that could be interested. So it's not like the Astros are the only team. There is the fact that he's been here for a long time. He has been to the playoffs in every year that he has been with the Houston Astros. So there is that, except for 2016. But we'll go and continue this conversation in a second. Guys, thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check us out.
This episode of Locked On Astros is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rival. That's right, New York Yankees, Los Angeles Dodgers, Chicago Cubs, Seattle Mariners, Texas Rangers, or are they in South Oklahoma? I digress. So Booking.com is the official combination partner of Major League Baseball, and you can find hotels, bed and breakfast, resorts. You can find hotels that overlook stadiums. I mean, there's so much to choose for. It's there to make your U.S. stay perfect. That's right. They don't cut corners. They give you the best options, from hotels to family-friendly resorts and cute little bed and breakfast. If that's where she wants to stay, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rival's city. Booking.com, Booking.yeah. Hey, NFL fans, it's your boy H-Town Wheelhouse kicking it right now because why? FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just like my old friend Dusty Baker used to say, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, the NFL fans, you have a great start to the season. If you're like the Texans, 4-1, you can get big returns now on FanDuel. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page that you're placing your bets. You don't have to go to a website. You don't have to go to X or all these other social media pages, just right there in the app. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's right, $200 guaranteed in bonus bets when you place a $5 bet. So you got to check out FanDuel.com. Why? Because it's America's #1 sportsbook.
Hey, you. Why don't you subscribe to us? Help us get to 15,000 subscribers. Go and make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out and go and hit that little red button there that says subscribe and go and help us out. Go and check us out on your Amazon Fire TV stick. Just go and search the free channels app and you can go and find us out. So another name that I forgot to mention, and I still don't see them going out there, and I don't see Bregman wanting to go over there. Seattle Mariners. I know the Mariners, they possibly could use a third baseman. I don't know if Bregman, with all the animosity with between the two teams over the years, I just don't see him going over there, but money does talk. So we'll see. But the Astros did make a trade this year to go and get a pretty electric pitcher. This was a kind of low under the radar type move. A lot of people criticized it at the time, and it didn't really pay off in the playoffs because he didn't get a chance to pitch. But Yusei Kikuchi is going to be a hot item because of the Houston Astros. I'm not saying they fixed him, but they taught him how to use his stuff better. So now if you're looking at what Spotrac says, he's estimated to have a 1-year market value of about $14.9 million. I'm just estimating that. And if you're looking at the overall base calculated value, it's a 1-year, $13.6 million deal. So both of them say that he's only worth a 1-year deal. I'm pretty sure he's 33 years old. If the Astros say, hey, we want to sign you for 2, maybe 3 years, at about $13 million per year, I'm pretty sure he'll say, yeah, I want to stay in Houston. I really like what I've seen so far.
The thing is, I think he made himself more money. I think the market value sorely underestimates what the 9-1 record did for Yusei Kikuchi. And I'm just going to guess here. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a 3-year, $20 million deal, $60 million for the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very realistic because of the market, because of where prices are right now. Pitching is at a premium. When you look at free agents for this next year, the relief pitching market is so rife with so many arms. It's flooded. So I think relief pitchers will not be at a premium. They'll be a dime a dozen, but starting pitchers will be at a premium. And it's important because, you watch in that first game where the Padres had Dylan Cease, and Dylan Cease was, he didn't have a horrible game. He just gave up too many runs, and he's a great pitcher. And so it stinks that the Astros didn't get a chance to showcase Yusei. And when you look back, hindsight's always 20/20, of course. You wonder with the strikeout stuff that he had, the swing and miss stuff that he had, why wouldn't you throw a curveball and put Yusei Kikuchi maybe as game one starter? And then Hunter Brown, or even Hunter Brown first and then Yusei. And then maybe Fromber gets pumped up because he beat the Tigers 2-0 and he goes into game one of the ALDS and gets a win. But, we can come up with make-believe scenarios all day. But I saw that 14.6. I wasn't shocked by the market value, but I would think he gets at least between 5 or 6 more. I think they rounded out to 20. I mean, Eric, if you were the Astros, would you do that? I mean, honestly, I think I would. 3 years is not that long of a contract. 20 million is really not that much. If a guy's going to get you the production he did in the second half, I think he's worth it. But what do you think?
If it's between him and bringing Justin Verlander back, I know Verlander has a Hall of Fame resume, but I think that Verlander would still be asking top dollar. So I think that if you're asking me which one I would choose, I would probably choose Kikuchi at this point. He's younger. He has more of a strikeout, the swing and miss stuff. So I think the Astros would probably invest their money in there. The market is going to be there's not as many starting pitchers out there as there was this past year, but I think somebody like Kikuchi, I think that if he's comfortable with the Houston Astros, I do want to clarify something. A lot of people are saying extending. I don't think that the Astros have missed their chance to technically extend. So it would be re-signing. So because the free agent, once the World Series ends, they're technically free agents. Mm-hmm. Now, if they resign tomorrow, I guess you can look at it as extending. But extension would be what they would do with Kyle Tucker. They're extending his last season and then adding on some more seasons. But as the contract is expiring, what you're doing is you're re-signing him. So at that point, I mean, I know it's just a caveat, but just be careful of that. But the Astros would have to re-sign Alex Bregman, but they could extend Kyle Tucker. I just want to clarify that definition.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, and just to recount, because I know we talked about this, and some people are asking about a couple of players. We have Victor Caratini through next year, $6 million this year, $6 million in 2025. He's a free agent then. And the free agents we know, we talked about 2 of them, JV, Kikuchi, obviously Kendall Graveman, Ben Gamel, Hector Neris, and Jason Hayward. I would be interested in keeping Hector Neris, bringing him back. Ferguson I know it's David's favorite relief pitcher. But literally the guys that are up for being a free agent, like key names, Valdez, Tucker, and Urquidy. And then everybody else is 2026 and beyond pretty much, Eric. So we've got a pretty solid core that's going to be here for a while. What is interesting to me, Eric, is the treasure trove of starting pitchers that this team has. I mean, we are going to be getting back guys like JP France, Jose Urquidy, Luis Garcia. On top of that, we have Hunter Brown, we have Fronell, we have Spencer. I mean, we have like so many pitchers. and losing Justin Verlander, I think at the stage of his career and how much he's going to want and how many pitchers we have, it's not as painful as if we lost him after the 2018 season or the 29. You know what I'm saying? When he was really, really dealing. So.
Yeah, and a lot of people are asking, when does free agency period start? It starts after the World Series ends, and I think they give like a 3 to 4 day window for teams to re-sign their own free agents before everybody becomes official free agents, and then other teams can start talking with the other teams. So the Yankees, for example, can't talk to Alex Bregman until that period's over. I believe they still do that. So, guys, we got all off season to kind of talk about all this stuff. We'll be keeping up with where Alex Bregman's going. Are the Astros going to bring back Kikuchi? There's so much time to discuss all this. We're not going to solve all this in the middle of the ALDS. So go ahead and hang out. We'll continue this discussion all off season. Thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Go and check out Sully over at the Locked On MLB podcast. He does a great job keeping up with all the playoffs, and we'll be here. And Brett, what do we always say?
Go Stros.
We'll see you tomorrow.